Google have just rolled out a broad core algorithm update this week, and it looks like we're all doomed.
We're doomed!
Doomed!
No, I'm only kidding. The algorithm updates are becoming less and less hardcore and kind of more like fine-tuning.
Concentrate.
I want yoga!
But that has not stopped the SEO community from doing the usual freak-out dance on Twitter. Now, say what you want about the SEO community, but our GIF game is very strong. Now, we had the usual run around in panic GIFs and all of that stuff, but some people were also asking, what does this mean and how do we optimize for it? Talking about optimization, you should help me optimize this YouTube video by clicking the like button down below. Okay, so how do we optimize for these core algorithm updates? Well, the short answer, you don't. Nowadays, you don't really technically optimize for any broad core updates. You just kind of progressively optimize the site over a period of time. And how do you do that, Ross? I hear you cry. Well, a very good place to start is actually Google's official documentation. In particular, the Google Webmaster Guidelines can help with your implementation of things like technical SEO, and the Quality Raters Guidelines will get you a kind of more tangible feel of like what quality content actually looks like. So from a technical SEO perspective, there are loads of resources out there to help you audit your website. Aleda Solis ran a survey to ask the biggest blockers in the industry when it actually comes to implementing any technical SEO changes, and she found out the following. The biggest problems SEOs are facing is a lack of resources to implement and a lack of understanding around the key themes around technical SEO in the changing SEO environment. She's then developed this framework of principles called the SP2 principles of strategic, prioritized, and proactive principles. So this is a really good starting point to help you gain a much better understanding of why you're actually doing technical SEO in the first place. And once you understand the why, we can then move into the what. And once we understand the why we're doing things and the what we're doing when it comes to technical SEO, we can then move into the how we're going to do it, so that's the actual tactics to get the job done. For that, I'm a huge fan of Annie Cushing from a company called Analytics. She's got this technical audit checklist on Google Sheet that covers the following. You've got data pools, you've got indexing, architecture, accessibility, and another 8 core areas and about 200 total audit checkpoints. Link in the description to Annie's Google Sheet. Now, it's a fantastic resource and I highly recommend it. She's also got a full tech audit template that's actually endorsed by Rand Fishkin from Moz, which you can actually download. It's just a couple of $100, so really not a big investment. Another excellent resource is Andy Drinkwater's 209 technical audit checklist. So Andy also done an hour-long podcast actually explaining all of these methodologies. Again, link for that is down below. It's particularly well worth a listen because he's actually been questioned by another professional SEO person. And he also gives you something slightly different to Annie in that he's going to give you all the tools you need to use and how to use them to actually do your technical analysis. So overall, he's got 15 steps in the audit that include some real world-class strategic checks. So stuff for people who are brand new into SEO, as well as the more hardcore guys that want to learn about internationalization in foreign language and local SEO and negative SEO practices. Well worth a read. And lastly, I would be remiss to say you should probably go over to the SEMrush Academy, where I have actually taken you through the entire Type A technical SEO framework. And guess what? It is completely free. That's the SEMrush Academy. All right, so after you've done your technical audit, it's time to get to grips with your on-page SEO. Now, when it comes to on-page, you should notice that there's something on this page on YouTube, which is called the link button, which you should definitely click. Okay, now my favorite Googler, Mr. Matt Cutts, used to always tell us the following.
What is the ideal keyword density? The answer is 77%.
No, I'm only kidding. But if you want to have a laugh, that mashup video, if you go onto YouTube and Google how to rank #1 on Google, absolutely hilarious, but it is satire, so please do not take it seriously. So when it comes to on-page SEO and quality content, I take a look at the Quality Raters guidelines first and foremost. These are essentially a set of scoring criteria that Google gives to actual human reviewers to follow when they're grading a site and training their machine learning algorithms. In particular, there's something in there, and it's a phrase you're going to hear quite a bit: EAT. This stands for expertise, authority, and trust. Now, if you want to learn much more about EAT, I would be remiss if I did not mention the queen of EAT, Dr. Marie Haynes. Marie has done countless blog posts and webinars and public appearances about EAT and how to interpret those Google Rater guidelines. In fact, if you Google her name, autosuggest actually comes up as Marie Haynes EAT. She's actually got a two-part webinar about EAT, which again is linked in the description. Highly, highly recommended. You know what else is quite close to the description below? The like button, what you should definitely click. Now, if you want to read the guidelines from Google, all 168 pages of it, you can do so over here. But if you're not up for reading 168 pages of technical guidelines, which I don't know why you wouldn't, here's a condensed version. So Google's got a concept called beneficial purpose, and every web page in their index needs to have a purpose that benefits the user. Either to share information about a topic, to share personal or social information, to share pictures, videos, or other forms of media, to express an opinion or a point of view, to entertain, or for what most of us are doing when it comes to SEO, to sell products and services. Now, when it comes to beneficial purpose, Google will determine certain types of pages according to the vertical they're in. In particular, they have rules for something called YMYL, which stands for your money or your life. According to Google, YMYL pages are pages or topics that could be potentially impactful to a person's future happiness, health, financial stability, or safety. In particular, there are actual niches that they mention, and they include news, civics, government and law, finance, shopping, health and safety, and groups of people. So if you've got a site in one of those topic areas, you're going to need to be extra diligent when you're applying EAT principles. Okay, so next up is creating content. We actually need to take all of that stuff and actually get content on the page. You know what the best type of content is? It's the link just below this video called the like button, which you should definitely click to help us with the YouTube algorithm. Now, the old days of banging in some keywords and synonyms are kind of gone. That's thanks to things like the Hummingbird algorithm and most recently the BERT algorithm. Google just understands the nuance behind how things are done. That's all very well and good, but how do we get ready to brief our copywriting teams to get content on the site? Well, if you're interested, I've actually done a full video on exactly this for our friends over at SEMrush for one of their weekly wisdom series, link in the description below. But if you want to know my top tools for actually getting content together, I would either recommend Surfer SEO or the on-page SEO checker from SEMrush. So both of them use information from the top 10 of Google to understand the actual entities on a page, and from that they help you build in your content so that you can brief it into a copywriter and it's semantically related to what's in the top 10. Lastly, we need to talk about the most controversial topic, that is links. Firstly, the most important link is the like button link, which is just below this video, so please do click it. I'll just keep saying it until you click it. So if you're in an industry that's classed as YMYL, then you're going to need to make sure that you're monitoring your backlink profile very, very carefully. I recommend using a tool like LRT, which stands for Link Research Tools, as it's going to constantly monitor your backlink profile to make sure that there are no toxic links and you're not being hit with a negative SEO attack. So, top line when it comes to links, here are our rules for avoiding any algorithmic issues in the future. 1. Editorial only. Get them from the main body of the blogs, newspapers and magazines, and don't bother with things like things in the sidebar, things in the footer, and things like widget links, because they're kind of deemed low value. Next, no anchor text. Yes, it would be good to get your keyword in the link, but it's actually a spam signal, which is going to get you seriously landed in hot water. Also, mix it up. Do not do the same thing over and over again. If you've done 10 guest posts this month, well, guess what? You've just created a footprint. Switch to some PR stuff or some infographic stuff. Just build different tactics into your link building. Next, think like a PR. So when it actually comes to getting links, you should be building content and experiences around your products and using that to create stories that are newsworthy to pitch journalists. Also, have commensurate social shares. The amount of link builders I talk to who do not give a shit about social is unbelievable. Every single time we've got a link in a major mainstream newspaper, it's because we've already had loads of social buzz around it, so selling the story into press is actually really straightforward. In particular at Type A, we like making things like games and interactive data visualization, so the journalist has actually got a reason to link and the user has got something to come back to that's a bit more interesting than a standard blog post. That's everything for this week's Canonical Chronicle. Please hit the like button if you liked it and subscribe if you loved it, and until next time, we will see you later.